Result to Braincat, and welcome to another movie review. Today I'm going to review the new crime thriller film, The Little Things. This movie is directed by John Lee Hancock and stars Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. Basically, this film took place in the 1990s where this old sheriff, played by Denzel Washington, and this rookie detective, played by Rami Malek, goes on this case to investigate a serial killer that's been killing innocent women in the state. Now, in my opinion, I find John Lee Hancock as a director very underrated. I love most of the films he's done, like The Blind Side, The Founder, Saving Mr. Banks. He is a really talented director. So, of course, for a film like this, I was very, very interested. Not just because he's directing it, but also the cast in this film is insane. So many Academy Award-winning actors are in this film, in a positive way, in a good way. Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, Jared Leto, both three are great actors. So of course that got me excited because of those three actors. But also, I love crime investigation films. I love the whodunit type situations in movies. We got one this year called The Dry, so it's a little competition there. But this is another Warner Bros. Film that's coming out on HBO Max and theaters. Of course, HBO Max doesn't work in Australia, it's only in the US, so I have to watch these movies in the theater, which I'm okay with, because honestly, I'd rather watch movies in theaters than doing streaming maxes. Lucky I have Disney Plus though, to watch some Disney Plus movies that are coming out this year. So, a lot of negative buzz with this movie, which I was honestly not expecting, so I literally went into The Little Things with an open mind. So, in my opinion, what do I think of The Little Things? I enjoyed this movie. I find this movie surprisingly decent and not feeling as bad as people were making it out to be. I find this film pretty decent. It's a very intense investigation film that was honestly, for the most part, investigating the whole way through. But is this movie perfect? No, this movie does have issues, but of course, let's get into the positives. The biggest positive that I have with The Little Things is the three main leads. They are all fantastic in this movie. Let's go one by one. First, of course, Denzel Washington. Now, whenever Denzel Washington is in a film, I have to go see it, because he is such a great actor. In most films he's been in, he is great in. I would say out of the three main leads, he is my least favorite, and which is pretty disappointing because he's definitely the most important part about the film. But still, I think he was fantastic in this film as this old sheriff that's going back to his old days, and I think Denzel's performance was fantastic in the film. And when I say his character is important in the film, there is a plot element that's very important to the film, which I'm not going to spoil, and that element of the film was pretty mixed bag, but we'll get to that in the negatives later on. But Denzel Washington, fantastic in this film. Another great performance by him. Speaking of performances, Rami Malek, what a great actor and what a great performance in this film, who's playing the new detective in town who is very professional, but a bit cocky in some stages. But when you see him in the film, you do have some sympathy for his character, and I would say the chemistry between Rami Malek and Denzel Washington was great in the film. I enjoy them two together, and of course Rami Malek has won Best Actor for Bohemian Rhapsody, so I know he's a great actor, and there's no difference in this film. He is great in this film. But I gotta say, the scene stealer of this movie is absolutely Jared Leto. What a performance he's been doing. Wow, I literally never felt this intense in the film. Then I saw Jared Leto in this film. My god, every single scene Jared Leto was in, I was in. I was in the movie. I was in the dialogue. I was in the story because of his character. His character is basically one of the suspects that we could think he's a serial killer, and I think Jared Leto, my god, he just plays Jared Leto in the most fantastic way possible. Basically a weirdo slash asshole with a couple of motivations that we do get from his character, and Jared Leto's performance in the film was spot on. I'm honestly, after this, I'm really excited to see him as Morbius. Of course, the cinematography, the look of this movie. Love the look of this movie. It definitely has a David Fincher vibe, which some people could compare this movie a lot to Zodiac or Seven. And I can see those comparisons, but at the same time, I can see that John Lee Hancock is more inspired by David Fincher's work, and you can see that he's very appreciative of his work. So I'm not complaining about that, honestly, because I like that he is basically inspired by David Fincher, but also doing the film his own way as well. The look of the movie looks great, the cinematography was amazing, but what's really underrated about this movie is actually the score. There's a lot of repetitive ballads with the score, And I find the score actually really good in this film and very, very interesting. If this movie was an Oscar bait, definitely best score in a movie. And yes, this film, from the second act, was an intense ride from that bit to finish. I was literally on the edge of my seat the entire time in the second act. And it goes to parts of the movie that I honestly did not expect, which is really good from this movie. But I gotta say, The Little Things isn't a perfect movie. It's not as good as The Dry. It's not the best movie that John Lee Hancock has done. It's probably the worst he's done. I would say the biggest issue with the film is actually the first half of the film. The first 40 minutes of this film. It was slow. It was very, very choppy, but also pretty slow to get to the main part of this movie. Not to say that the first act was boring. I wasn't bored during this whole movie. I was entertained by this movie for the most part. But I do think the first act of this movie could have been much more developed and much more better. Also, Denzel Washington's main arc in this film is that he has a past that has a lot to do with the case, which I'm not going to spoil what is his past. And I feel like they could have explored more of that. Like, they explored a lot at the end of the movie, and I felt like we could have seen a bit more of his past and see more of what's going on, because I was literally like, okay, I'm in two mindsets right now of his character, and I feel like I want to see more of the backstory of Denzel's character in the entire film. But it's mostly the first act that I felt like it's very, very slow and hard to get through. And then when the second act comes in, that's when the film actually goes very decent, very intense, and very entertaining. Overall, guys, I do think The Little Things is a bit disappointing, though. I feel like this movie could have been so much better than it actually is. But what we got, I enjoyed The Little Things. It's very decent. The three main leads are fantastic in the film, especially Jared Leto. I loved most of the story from basically the second act to the end of the movie. It was very intense. It was very thrilling. John Lee Hancock did a good job for the most part. You can see he's very inspired by David Fincher's work in a good way. Go see it. I wouldn't say go rush out to see this film, because this film, in my opinion, doesn't have a rewatchable factor. I wouldn't see this movie again. If you want to go and see a simple crime film with some pretty good twists, I think The Little Things will do that for you. I'm going to give The Little Things a B-. So guys, that is my review for The Little Things. Let me know what you think of this movie in the comments below. Do you like the movie, hate the movie, or you thought it's okay? Just let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, Stardust, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. Keep contacting me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notified for my latest movie reviews, and have a nice day.